to Citizens Dialogue. I am Cassie Tony, joined by our analyst Kings Ojalo. Today, we'll bring you the latest breaking news across Nigeria, from urgent updates to insightful analysis. We'll guide you through the stories that matter most. Now let's get started. Power play in Rivers. Assembly explains rejection of Fubara's 4 nominees. As the City Boy movement surges in Enugu, Mba advises Ndibo to return to strategic politics. Insurgents recruit children as soldiers. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll dive in. Stay with us. In a decisive plenary section on Monday, the Rivers State House of Assembly screened 9 commissioner nominees presented by Governor Timileyin Fubara, ultimately rejecting nearly half of the list. While 5 nominees successfully navigated the rigorous 2-hour screening process to become commissioners designate, including a professor, was dropped by the House due to poor performance. Welcome to the show, Ojalo.
Thank you, Cassie, for having me once
How are you
again.
doing this morning?
I'm fine, and I'm okay. Thank you for having me.
All right. So what do you have to say about this story? I mean, how this House of Assembly members Amewole took time to screen out a lot of people that was nominated by Governor Fubara, and at the end of the day, we discovered that some of these nominees could not even sing national anthem. How embarrassing!
This is not the time to state out some embarrassing fact in this situation.
But that's really embarrassing.
We looked at I looked at Martin Emewole's performance yesterday. I think it was quite polite, despite critics on these remarks and some political observers interpreting it as a sign of an ongoing power issue. To me, I see this as the actual processes a speaker should actually take, and with this method is a welcome development that, if it could be applied in other strategic areas of politics in Nigeria, indeed we'll have a better platform of politics and politicians in our political forum in this country. Now, stating the performance and the screening that happened yesterday, 9th of March, in the Rivers State House
9th of March, that was on Monday.
Yes, that was when it occurred. It is in the Rivers State House of Assembly, where 4 out of 9 nominees that were brought by the Rivers State governors were rejected. Now, what was the actual reasons and what reasons of this rejection? Now, starting with Professor Datoye Elesia, was rejected for poor performance during his screening due to his documentations and including issues of birth certificates. I think this should be a call for those people who are seeking high stakeholding political forum in the country to work on their. This is a wake-up call to a lot of individuals, not just politicians. To make sure your document in terms of birth certificate and other credentials that contains your details should be well documented. You can see this should stand as an example to Nigerians entirely. You understand?
Yeah.
So I really like the fact that such action was taken by Martin Emewole on the 9th of March on this screening exercise. It was a remark. Most times I come out to criticize Justin Emewole due to the crisis. Rivers State political crisis and Nigeria, but I give kudos to him in this one. You understand? No matter
he outdid himself.
Yes, of course. He really
outdid himself.
Yes, and make sure and classified himself to be a speaker just as he's known to be. You understand? Now, looking at the other, I'll screen the individual by the name Otonye TKD. Amache, disqualified due to more 11 petitions from his community regarding his involvement in local crisis and illegal disputes. I think if such people, in this form, could be constantly checkmated in all political forums, I bet you this country will be a stable country, because most political high stakeholders, most especially in the House of Senate, in the House of Reps, in our country today, have been involved in more petitions. This one is even 11. Many of them have been engaged in more petitions, involving in crisis in so many ways. But yet, they are still giving opportunity in the House of Senate and in some other political forum of our country. That is why our country is where it is today. I think this is not about being biased. This is about stating the fact. When your record states some certain element concerning you, and is brought to a forum for everyone to emphasize and see, definitely, it will definitely tell on you and show on your reputation. Now, looking at Miss Charity Dimwa, talking about that she has not. No. This one was about failing to provide evidence of tax impliance, saying that because she's a politician and she has not been working for quite some time, that based on her reputation, that she has not been paying tax. What an excuse! So if you as a politician don't pay tax, then what good example?
That goes to say that politicians are not paying tax.
What good example do you give to the citizens? This is what we are talking about here. I really see this exercise was a remarkable one, and I really love the way it was acted.
But I'm looking at it as Amewole is trying to tell people that the governor is not competent.
No, this is not about competence. Look, the governor has done his job. Yes, it is the governor he has presented them, because normally the governor might bring out people, probably his loyalists or people who he so desires for the job. It is not the governor's responsibility to do the screening. You understand? He definitely he didn't have time to witness or notice these allegations that was raised against this individual. What if these people
were not from the governor's side? Do you think he will still want to do the screening? He will still take out time to do screening? Let's say these people were from Wike's wing. Do you think Amewole would take out that time to screen these people one after the other?
But I really understand what, based on Martin Omelewe being the loyalist to Wike. Of course, we know Nigeria's system.
Exactly.
Definitely, probably there will be some propaganda that will be. But leaving that one aside, now I'm looking at this reformment now, this exercise as something genuine. You understand? So in terms of maybe probably
it is genuine because it's coming from Governor Fubara. If it was from Wike, I don't think it would be genuine.
We could recall, the dispute that has been happening between the state governor and the House of Assembly, being put to an end, being halted and thereabout. So definitely, I don't think those disputes, those crises, is reflecting on this. I think this is how if it was about probably the issue between the Rivers State House of Assembly and Governor Fubara. I believe all the 9 nominees would have been rolled out. So you could say that at least 4 were removed and 5 were kept. So you should know that definitely this is not about...
perhaps the 4 that were kept have close links to...
5 of them.
Yeah, that were kept has maybe link to the Amewole, or probably
to me, in this regard, I doubt that.
All right.
Now, the last individual that was also ruled out, we were talking about Temuno Williams, who could not, take the
national anthem.
This second stanza of the national anthem. I think this is, pardon my word, is a shame. Honestly speaking,
but he knows he was going for government. Well, why didn't he just practice the anthem?
It's a shame. An individual going for a political space. No, this is a shame beyond.
He didn't know that was going to come his way.
That is a slap on. So that is now. In summarizing all of this, I think this should be an eye-opening to any individuals, even myself, because I learned a lesson from this. Tomorrow I might be called into a political forum, and so I think from now I will have to start doing my rehearsal, because I don't know where I will be tomorrow. So what I'm trying to say is this: any individuals who tends to go for a political space or political opportunity, if called upon, should make sure his details are well documented properly. You should know, every details about your country, every single activities similar to that of your country should be intact in your memory. Okay, looking at the case of Tamuno Williams, who could not recite the second stanza of the national anthem, it's not called for, and also it was also alleged misleading the public about the assembly. You understand? I think that was even the main reason why it was discriminated out from the nomination list. So it's a good one from the Rivers State House of Assembly. The House Speaker, Martin Emewele, has done well, and also those who also took part in the exercise. I think I give them kudos. But whatever disputes, internal crisis they might be having with the state governor, I think it was haunted and it should be totally resolved without an inch of it again.
All right, let's move away from that to another political show. I'm calling this one political show because this is happening in Enugu State. So the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Mba Peter, has called on the Southeast to embrace strategic politics to regain relevance at the center of national decision-making, noting that the region has become increasingly fragmented in recent years. He spoke on Tuesday while receiving members of the City Boy movement, a group supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election, at the government house in Enugu. What do you have to say about this? Because think the governor, okay, this governor is in APC, so he's supporting City Boys movement.
Of course, being a loyalist to the president should definitely be a loyalist to the City Boy movement based on the forum planted by the president's son to embark on carrying the mandate of the return of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to power in 2027. Now, looking at this fact, we're not talking about the City Boy movement now. We're talking about Mba making sure that the Ndibo, as a societal group, supporting the forum and also making them to also notice the end of isolationism that is trying to hide yourself, not being notified in some political activities and other high stakeholding platforms. Mainstream alignment, a situation whereby the Indibo should also come in support of the APC movement and their activities on a daily basis in order to, be part of it. And normally, just like I said, support for the president, strategic lessons, you understand. He noted that Igbo political forebearers were historically strategic, and current leaders must reconnect with Central to secure critical infrastructural like railway and Jeriba. So he is trying to make sure that the Indibo society are engaged with this current political forum, you understand. But it's unfortunate that Mba, in his mandate as a sitting governor, has also failed to realize, some dirty elements that, this APC political forum has failed to address. We're talking about insecurity. We are talking about looking at the fuel hike recently. Even in the Buhari regime, I think the hike was not as terrible as this one. I think this is the first time in Nigeria that, a citizen of a country that is blessed with oil resources and good mineral resources should be buying fuel in a cost of 1,300. These are things Mba is failing to recognize. The fact that you are a great ally of this administration doesn't mean you should not speak out on the unjust activities happening in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that is where he's having a fault. I'm not saying you shouldn't go about campaigning and supporting the what they call them, the City Boy movement, but we are talking about you noticing those calamities. Okay, even in his own region. Yes, kudos to him for creating a platform, what they call them, officials, agents, and special security force on putting an end to, criminal acts and, kidnapping activities happening in Enugu. Yes, we also recall where he launched drones for some security agencies, yes, to carry out their security duties in order to apprehend those who are behind, banditry and kidnapping in that area, in that region of Nigeria. But nevertheless, we are looking at a terrible situation affecting the entire nation. So you, being a great ally of the president, should also, as a responsible governor, address this situation. We've seen terrible things happening in our country. There's no day we don't hear about one or two ugly situations happening in Nigeria. You should also address those things, not using the Indibo as a society group to want to engage with a platform or a political forum that is not giving the people, that is not making the minds of the people be at rest. You understand? I know, yes, you are trying to connect the Indigo to this current administration in terms of supporting, making sure that you speak out, mainstream, align with them, which is the APC, and making sure that the region should play majors with the Nigeria politics. Yes, it's good. Calling on the Igbos to involve more, because indeed most individuals from that region of Nigeria are like, okay, we don't want to have anything to do, still having this mentality of Biafra. We don't want to have anything to do with the Igbos, with the Nigerians rather. And it's really, really not helping the economy. I know about that, but nevertheless, you should see the reason why these people don't want to engage, don't want to involve themselves in Nigeria's activities, because of the unquenchable crisis happening.
So,
you understand?
So what's your final thought on
My
this?
final thought is Mba should also point out those devastated things that are affecting the system of Nigeria, rather than just supporting a forum known to be the city boy movement that shouldn't be a necessity in the current Nigeria situation.
All right, away from that to the sad story that is taking over our Nigerian country, as Nigeria raffles with one of the most devastating period of insecurity in its history, with soldiers being killed, women and children adopted, and communities razed to the ground across the northeast. A new and disturbing video has emerged on social media that takes the horror to a whole new level. The footage shows what appears to be dozens of children and young teenagers dressed in Nigerian camouflage uniforms, helmets, and boots performing military drills. The young recruits, many in oversized, unfitting uniforms, are lined up in formation. The post sharing shows the video alleging the uniforms belong to slain Nigerian soldiers. Now we watch this video. This is really heartbreaking to see. These are children dressed in uniforms reportedly belonging to Nigerian soldiers, presumably killed in battle. This image alone is enough to shake Nigerians to the core. Meanwhile, the footage had been linked to Boko Haram's long-documented practice of forcibly recruiting children. Search shows the children are from Ngoche in Gwaza local government area of Borno State, which recently saw the kidnapping of 100 children and women. What do you have to say about this? Because this is a very sad story. Like day in, day out, we're getting reports of killings, kidnapping, and these are underage children.
Exactly.
Those children are not even up to teenage age. They are from 9 years and above, being trained. You see them on uniform, oversized uniform, with uniforms that are not even their size. Instead of being in school, they are being recruited by these insurgents.
First of all, we could see the level of failed governments, you understand, in our country. This is a clear picture of the government failing to take on their responsibility in the lives of the young generations. You understand? These are Nigerians for that matter. They are not people from nearby countries. We are talking about indigenous of probably Borno and some other northern regions that are victim of kidnap from this so-called bandit, and this so-called ISIS, times without number, incident by incidents happening in that sub-region, And the UNICAF, and what is the purpose? The UNICEF rather, that is the United Nations Children's Fund, has mandated the UN General Assembly to advocate for protesting of children's rights, helping them in basic need, expanding their opportunities to reach for potentials. Now, what am I trying to say, and why did I have to bring that, emphasis on this? UNICEF have, made it know that, look, there is a mandate even from every country leading president or first man of a nation to help basic needs of children, and also make sure that children have the full right and full opportunity to live, a free life in their country. But, in Nigeria's own case, you can see that Nigeria's government has failed in that aspect. Now, looking at that video footage, you will see that these children has lost their own privilege totally in so many ways, mentally, physically, Child right is gone. So many, rights from these children, and definitely which will affect their future. Now, what are the consequences of this kind of trauma, of this kind of because to me, I see it as a tragedy that they are falling to. You understand? Because first of all, they were kidnapped, brainwashed, and they were brought to they are now in a situation whereby lies will be spread to them. I don't know if you understand. They will be given wrong details. You understand? One of these details will probably be making sure that they hate their country, giving them details about your president has failed you, your country has failed you. So there is the Boko Haram will let them know that they are the only hope.
Yes.
You understand? Being in that joining the insurgencies right now, being part of the bandit is the only way of life. You see where the brainwashing starts from. Now there will be a mental health disorder, suffering from post-trauma stress, most especially from the females. You understand? Normalization of violence, prolonging exposing for brutality, which will lead to socialization of aggression. That is what will constantly happen in their life. Be giving weapons, ammunitions, that killing is their actual fate. So they will have this mindset.
In the video, we saw them carrying.
They will have this mindset that
guns that are not even their size.
They should be given credit for killings. The number of people you can kill, that is most of their dirty belief. The number of people you can kill is how
the number of virgins you marry.
Apart from being virgin, it's how you will be more wealthier, how you will be more successful. So these people will see killing to be a priority to upgrade their life, and to them it will be like a normal thing. So if you don't kill, you are not in the team, and you are not noted. So this has caused so many community asterism. Let me put it that way. You understand? Recruiting children, frequently, suspicions and labeled as the aliens of becoming an enemy to your own country. That is it, because they've been set against their own country right now to make sure that Nigeria is their enemy. Nigerians are their enemies, rather. You understand? That is what these children have found themselves. And it is unfortunate that our first man of the country, the president, has not found a solution to kick these people. Oshowore was stating something recently when he was asked questions concerning the statement of Gumi, the Islamic cleric we spoke about yesterday. He said Gumi is not a fool. He knows what he's saying is right. When he said that the federal government and also some high-stake political...
They know their names and their location.
Names and the details of this kidnapper. Oshowore said that the man is saying the truth and is right. He also made mention of that, if our Nigeria president and if the federal government wants to tackle these people, if they want to kick them out of this country, they know what to do, and they will be wiped out of Nigeria immediately. Imagine that. That is to tell you that indeed the Islamic cleric was right. Because if our Nigeria federal government and him being the chief of armed forces of this country wants to really tackle these people, just as Barack Obama, Donald Trump has been demonstrating for quite some time now, definitely he will do that. But we still don't know the reason why these people are still kept in our territory, and for what purpose. Are you trying to turn the entire country to practice Sharia law, which will not happen? I keep saying this thing is happening in the north and in the northeast and whatever part of the north it's occurring on a daily basis, and we in the south or probably southwest or southeast, we just feel so reluctant and saying, that it is happening in those regions. I bet you it's coming gradually. It has started occurring in Ondo, those states. It's coming gradually, and to me, I think the solution to this matter, because Nigeria, we also have a hand in this. Yes, citizens of Nigeria also have a hand in this. And what am I trying to say is that, why I said Nigeria also have a hand, we are all too reluctant and reliable on the president. Looking at the fact that we already have a failed president, we already have a failed administration, I think vibrant Nigerians should come out. Enough of the protests, because these people don't listen to our protests. Enough of the rioting and whatever, burning tires. Okay, recently in Ondo State, we saw some individuals carrying caskets, corpses, on the federal highway, laying them down. Do you think the president will come from his villa to come and answer you? No. Enough of those things. I think we should set up a strategic move on how I'm talking about secrecy. People should come out in a form in which they should be able to create agencies, super agencies, and I know it's very possible that will be able to tackle this insecurity. Because if we rely on the president to, if we keep relying on them, and he's contesting for the 2027 election, which he promised before he came into power. He promised that he's going to tackle insecurity in the country.
That if he doesn't, they shouldn't vote for him.
And we are thinking this 2027 is going to
make the same promise again.
No, he's going to take the decision of removing, just as he has promised. I tell you, there is no. It will still be the same occurrence even when he's re-elected. That is, if he will be re-elected. So I'm calling on non-Nigerians. So those Nigerians, those vibrant Nigerians that has what it takes to make sure that these people are kicked out and really dealt with. Because I know there are still some individuals, out there who have that superpower, who have that mind to make sure, most especially in those regions, to make sure that, and I'm talking about this so-called secret police services and thereabout, to make sure they do these things, tackle these so-called insurgencies without asking for permission from the federal government. Because if we are relying on the federal government, I'm telling you, the whole country will be put in sabotage in no time. So my final conclusion in this is the lives of these children are so important. I wonder how it will look like when the parents of those children see them in that form, how their grievances. I don't know if you imagine, just imagine your child being captured by some group of bandits, and they are still being used, because to me they are like slaves. Imagine putting on a common flag of dead. Just imagine. That is slavery beyond. This is beyond slavery. You understand? Brainwashed and put and used for oh my God. And in fact, but what I'm trying to say is that whatever the federal government can do, you should please do it in no time, because there's no time. Is eradicating the whole country gradually, and the more we keep, sitting down calling for hope, because all the president's statement right now is we will not surrender, we will not surrender. Not surrender is not all about talking, it's all about demonstrating. And we have all what it takes. Is it the Air Force? Is it the military? Is it the warships? We have them. So what is the delay all about? The earlier the better for us.
All right, that's it for today's edition of Citizens Dialogue. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Cassie. It's my pleasure being here.
And to you, our viewers, for tuning in. I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead. And do well to join us next time for more breaking news from Nigeria. It is a bye for now.